Hello and welcome to the Black Mind Games podcast, episode 295.
I thought that was last time.
No, 296. This episode's 296. We were just discussing about the next generation of Pokemon games, Pokemon Tits and Pokemon Ass.
Yes, like the most. A lot of people say
Pokemon Thighs.
You want the third one, which is better of both worlds. Probably Pokemon Thighs.
Exactly. I'm not going to miss out on my Pokemon Rayquaza variant of Thighs or whatever it would be. Just like the thickest Pokemon you've ever seen.
Oh, so thick!
I'm just looking forward to Pokemon Femboy and Pokemon Tomboy.
But then
we all know the most popular selling one of that was going to be Pokemon Trap. So
yep. I thought it was going to be.
Everybody loves Pokemon Trap.
I was actually surprised because I thought that I read spoilers for there going to be a third one, and I thought it was going to be Pokemon. Oh no, I'm blanking out. Pokemon Fuda.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because I read that, I was like, oh, that's plausible, and I didn't think twice. Yeah, Pokemon Fuda. Yeah, why not?
You're just a degenerate. Like the rest of us.
So at the time that we're recording this, our Josh. Hi, Josh.
Hey.
Our Josh has just gotten back from the coffee shop after his long trip to Alabama.
Actually, a long trip of playing Pokemon Go. Well, a good chunk of my day. Which is
Well, goddammit, Josh, you were supposed to go to the Josh versus Josh solo fight and represent Black Mind, and you failed us.
That's all the way in U.S., and a lot of them are not wearing masks, and I felt uncomfortable. Although the event looked kind of...
What did I tell you?
In New Jersey, everybody wears their masks here in New Jersey. New Jersey is one of the... Ironically, okay, everybody dogs in New Jersey, but if there's one thing New Jersey has done right during this pandemic, every business still has mask mandates here. We have not lightened anything of that. Even there's this block of 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. that's for those 24-hour businesses. That's for the at-risk people to come through, and it's and it hasn't changed at all.
Yeah, I would say that's a good chunk of Canada as well. There's still you still get one or two people that go through a gas station who are don't have a mask, and you're like, you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Fucking asshole.
I've only ever seen one person not wearing a mask here.
Yeah.
And it was just it's hilarious because everybody dogs on Jersey. It's oh, Jersey's fucking the armpit of America. And it's but we have the least amount of COVID cases, bitches.
Yep. Then you go to Ontario, Canada, and they're fucking exploding. It's real bad. They actually went back to lockdown again. It's real bad. And
I'm not surprised. Some of the stories I've heard on Reddit and stuff for the r/Ontario and all that stuff of people just fucking fighting over the mask shit and all this other stuff, dude. It's real bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as bad as Alberta, but Alberta's doing pretty well compared to Ontario.
Yeah.
Apparently,
I got a funny story about that.
It's hilarious because Josh, for the 3 months, when I wasn't down in Lethbridge, he would be I would enter a chat with him and he would be like, God, Alberta's doing so bad. God, Alberta's doing so bad. And then Ontario did worse, and now he's like, Alberta's doing okay.
Well, when you have reference, it's easy to say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, Canada has fucked us up so bad, and as somebody who went through the fucking system, was told I was fine, went to work, got tested again, and then came out positive, I don't think we're doing a good job. I think we're doing a pretty bad job. That's just me.
I think that's just a flaw in the tests. I think some of the tests aren't exactly 100% always positive if you have it.
Mm-hmm.
It also could have been you were right on that cusp of when it would show up, and then the next couple days later when you got your next test, that's when it showed up. And that just give you some bad luck right there. So,
well, no, it's my dad got tested twice, and then I came out positive, and then he came out positive.
I see. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Then I don't know, man.
Yeah. So it's I'm just pissed off about that because I potentially almost gave it to my coworkers.
As long as the transmission rate, apparently, when I was looking at the statistics or whatever for that, if you wear a mask and the other person's wearing a mask, it's almost less than 1%.
That's good.
So as long as you're not being a piece of shit, you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah. Here's another factoid about my job about the COVID. So everyone at my job, it's a giant warehousing place. Everyone just wears a mask. We all are actually given Ford masks, which are actually have the Ford logo on it, which is kind of crazy. They're like custom made and everything. The only gripe about them is that they cut into your ears, and everyone has that same gripe. But it's like whatever, you get used to it.
Yeah, you get ear savers.
Yeah, or those. And also, now, here's the one thing. I work in this building, but I'm not part of the people who work in this building. I am part of the shipping people, which are leased out from another company. So, basically, the shipping people I'm with, long story short, they're from, their headquarters is Ontario. Shit is popping off like crazy over there because COVID's bad. So because headquarters is fucking like freaking the fuck out over it, they are now forcing us in Alberta, hey, you got to get tested every bloody Wednesday. I'm like, what? To the point of like, I don't think that makes sense for us specifically. Because it's like, we haven't had a case in like, how long? And even if someone is sick, it's like, they know to stay home. So it's like, I don't think
that.
Yeah, I think that, but it's like I feel this is kind of especially for if there's some certain areas that's just so low. It's like I'm not sure if you need to go overboard like that, but oh well.
I'm curious. Do you guys have like the same kind of like work culture that like we do over here, where like you're expected to come into work if you're sick, or like
similar?
You can't really use your PTO or any of that kind of stuff.
Similar.
Like it's kind of like super frowned on. That's just strange to me, isn't it?
Yeah, I really wish it wasn't a thing.
I feel like if you're sick and like, how to put it? Like, if you think somebody's gonna like abuse their sick days or whatever, like I get it, but like at the same time, it's like if you're sick, you shouldn't come to work and then spread it and then make everything worse. Because like honestly, like you're gonna lose more time and like more productivity having a sick person and then making the rest of everybody else sick than if you just had enough employees that if you have one sick person, you can actually cover when they're out. Mm-hmm. You know, and then you just need to trust people not to abuse their sick days. I feel like the people that abuse their sick days are the ones that are like, I'm so overworked, I need a day off, and so they take that sick day.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and instead if they were like, you can take like, 3 sick days or like 3 months or something, you know what I mean? I don't know the number. I just threw some random numbers out of nowhere, but it's just like, and then like not overworking your people at the same time, so you don't feel like I have to take a sick day because like I need like a day. Because like I've heard it where like some people like they'll take sick days for like mental health days, just because like they can't like mentally deal with something anywhere because of like they have issues or whatever. And it's just like I can understand how like some people feel like that they need to do that, and then at the same time like businesses are like, we want to protect ourselves and not have people like abuse sick days. But it's like you kind of got to take that loss, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's like, I think the culture in Canada is very much of like, oh, you're sick, you even have a cough, oh, you have this, you're all these things, how dare you do these things, and how dare you even remotely come into work because you might have COVID.
Yeah, I would say that the fear,
and if you take off that mask, you're fucking gone.
I would say that the fear of COVID it's actually super strong in Canada, and I would say that if you're sick at all, I think they will just force you at home, if not lose your job some way. Like if you
I think it's completely the opposite in America right now, especially with some of like the more traditional businesses that use offices and stuff. Some businesses and CEOs are really trying hard to get the Americans back in the office, and it's like, and everybody's like fighting against it. It's like you've seen like how much better and how much more productive people are working from home, and it's like, and then the other thing is like, and then it's like we still have like these problems in the United States of like, just rampant people not obeying the mask laws and stuff, and like people are still getting sick, and it's just like.
I think that depends on the person because, like, I definitely notice, like, myself, like, for something like a game or something like that, I think that, like, it's more important for people to be in the office because then you can bounce off ideas. Yeah, you're not in the office all the time, but, like,
yeah, but you don't need literally everyone in the office. Like, it's more like they're like, but and I'm hearing it from not from like game devs. I'm hearing it from like other businesses. Like I'm saying like traditional businesses, like businesses. Yeah, like sales stuff.
Like my dad doesn't need to go into the office unless he works for like a public utility. We'll say that. But he doesn't need to go into the office at all because he just does scheduling. He boots up his computer, VPNs into the actual server, and then he can do everything.
Yeah.
And he's not wasting gas driving to and from work. He's thinking about selling one of his vehicles because he has 3 fucking vehicles for some fucking reason. Well, actually, no, it's not a fucking reason. It's like he has a car for tooling around town. He has a truck for like bigger jobs. And then he has another truck just for hauling RV shit. And he's like, well, maybe I'll just sell my truck that's for bigger jobs and just have my 2 vehicles. I don't need that much.
Yeah, my uncle is kind of the same way with the multi-car thing because he's in the sales department of a software company, so he does a lot of travel. So he has a car that he specifically takes to the airport because like it has to be small enough to fit in the car park, and it has to be a car that he doesn't give a shit about enough that if he leaves it for 4 days while he's 6 states over, it's not that big of a deal, if something happens to it.
Yeah, somebody jimmies the lock. He's not going to give a shit.
Yeah, and then he has a truck that he drives daily, and then he has, of course, but he also has like extra things. Like he has a Corvette that his fun car, and then then they have the wife's car. So he has a lot of cars. But yeah, like he hasn't gone into work. Even before this, he was working from home a lot, just because like he's mobile working. Off-site, so it's just a natural cause of the job.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come in with somebody else on the show. We started recording because we got impatient. Well, I got impatient, let's be honest. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back, okay? Hey, Keith.
Hey.
Hello.
So that's Ben. Say hi, Ben.
Hello.
Oh. And that's Josh. Josh is the host. He's been on
long time.
Over 297, and Ben's like 100. We'll say 100 episodes because I stopped counting. So what you do is you just hit recording, and then are you recording? Is the audio showing up with the wave and all that stuff?
Oh,
it's the big circle
with the red in this.
It's the red circle. Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Okay, so we're gonna sync in. When we sync, what we do is let's do an example sync, guys. So I'll say 3, 2, 1, sync.
Yeah, I'll go sync.
And then we'll sync and then when I have all the audio, the reason we have all the audio is that way then I can synchronize it. So that way then if all of a sudden I cut out, Josh can continue the show, or if Ben cuts out, we can continue the show. So everyone, it's not like one person leaving or something like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, 3.
Oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say it's like a clap sync, but we're just going to draw out the word sync and extend the K in the last part of it because that's how Jeff finds it in the audio.
Yeah. So 3, 2, 1.
Sync. Okay.
Okay. I think that's good, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'll see if I can figure it out. I'll either go off the back or I'll go off the front, test it on the front, see how it works, and then I'll test it on the back.
Yeah, there's a delay with Discord, so that's kind of like fun.
Yeah. It's so great when I'm editing the audio and I'm like, huh, we're all talking over each other. This is great.
Oh no! I mean, there has been a 1 or 2 episodes where I listen back to it and I go, Jeff, you just, especially when we first started.
Where I just give up. I'm like, fuck it.
When we first started, all you did was put the audio on top of it, like just put the audio in, and it just, and then halfway through the episode, it didn't make any sense. So I was like, wait, what the hell's going on? Like, you didn't sync it properly, and we're like, oh no, we never. The thing you're supposed to do is do that. We're supposed to sync it properly. We never did that. So
Yeah, fuck that.
Bad license, Jeff. Bad.
I look forward to when we have Podcast Studio 1.0, where then we can just have guests come into this actual studio, so that way then I don't have to deal with this shit anymore.
Are you gonna
That's
do
gonna
that
be
like
great.
Joe Rogan
Well,
style?
you can't have me anymore.
Well, Ben, how am I gonna have you on? Simple. I'm gonna have a little screen. I'm gonna have a screen. It's just gonna display a face.
Oh my god, you're just gonna
that we're gonna
screen me in?
make.
No.
And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna have you record the audio, and then I'm just gonna mark it in, and it's just gonna be called the Black Mind Podcast Live. Because I'm evil like that. Welcome back to the episode, boys and girls. We were just setting up the show again.
talking about COVID and how workplaces are getting more fucked, and how the work culture is gonna have to change despite what CEOs want. Fucking assholes.
Not my
boomers.
CEOs.
Fucking.
Not
For
my
whatever
CEOs.
reason, they
Both of
they
mine.
cannot think 10 feet in front of their face, or like the foot in front of their face. Like they're like, nah, my dollar though. They're like, then you still get the same amount if your person works at home. You cunt. Like, oh.
That's not true. You actually get more money out of them.
Lower costs, man.
You get-
Way lower costs.
Oh man, I don't have to pay money for an office space, and then my employees can work from home. Holy shit, that seems like a great
Plus,
idea.
they can sell off
If
the
you're-
leases. They don't have to pay for any of that. Insurance is lower. Everything. Offloading responsibility.
Yeah. It's because they're so like stuck in their ways of like
like a
do
7
things.
to 5 every Monday to Friday.
yeah.
Fucking suck ass.
You know what though? A lot of progressive companies are moving away from that, anyways. Like the company I'm working for right now, you can choose your shift. You just choose your schedule. You can do compressed or non-compressed, so you can work 10-hour days but have more days off, or you can work your standard 9 to 5, different starts. Like it's all whatever you want, as long as the coverage is the same for the amount of hours worked.
So this individual's voice that you're hearing is my buddy's Keith. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
We've been friends for a
IRL.
long time.
Yeah.
Yes, in real life. So I figured, hey, let's bring him on the show. Let's see what's going on. Bring on somebody who has different opinions than
Do
all
I?
of us.
Maybe.
Do that.
We'll see.
Yes, a little bit. So what does everyone want to talk about this week? Because I'm the only one who posted topics because I'm an evil bastard. We'll say.
Yeah, well, I forgot like usual, and then I existed poorly to this week, so what can I say? Although I did just see now, if I was browsing Reddit, that apparently the SpaceX shuttle managed to put people in the International Space Station, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, they did it again?
Neat.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Noise.
I saw an article that said that there was a near miss while they were launching. There was some unidentified object that came within 4,500 meters or something like that of the ship.
When you say near miss, and then you start with 4,000 meters.
I know.
It's
I
like,
know, but
wow.
the article said it was like near miss. I didn't read the article, just the classic headline.
It was a tic tac. It was the
Yeah,
aliens.
probably.
After scouting out the.
Yeah,
They were scouting out the U.S. battleships, and then they saw the Elon Musk, and they're like, "Oh, this is important."
Yeah,
We have
they're
to
like,
be
guys,
here."
this is historic. This is historic for these guys. This is how they're gonna get off.
This is important. This is how the
You
Mars
know what?
Empire
I
starts.
bet you if there were aliens, they would be paying very close attention to Elon, and probably no one else in the world. Like there'd be hardly anyone else they would actually look at, but they would be like, this dude. He would be the one that they would look at. Who else
That's
would
not
they look
true.
at, man? Who else would matter to an alien civilization?
They would look at all the governments. They would look at all the governments. They would be like, "Who are the leaders of these people? Okay, all of these schmucks. Mm-hmm. Okay, these guys are important. Okay, and Bill Gates.
Do you think an alien race would
absolutely.
find the really obnoxious figureheads of our random cultures important? I don't think so.
You know, regardless of any civilization, there has to be some kind of bureaucracy, whether it's what's the word for like kings and
monarchy
queens or whatever. So like it could be monarchy. It could be how we do it with democracy stuff. But there are going to be politicians and there are going to be figureheads. And in first contact scenarios, especially if you can monitor a planet without being detected, the first thing you'd want to do is you would want secret meetings with leadership, because that's the best way to ease into a relationship with somebody. Even like us coming into another country, we do the exact same thing. We'll go straight for the highest part, because like if you just kind of just waltz in and be like, "Hey guys, I fucking have superpower weapons," to some tribe in some random island, are going to be like, everybody's going to freak the fuck out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It'll be the exact same way with aliens. They're definitely going to go straight for a bureaucracy first, no matter how annoyingly egregious it is. Although they probably look at us and be like, "We want nothing to do with these dumb fucking ape bitches."
Yeah.
these guys are too busy blowing themselves up for us to even give a shit.
That's why, like, I get that based on human history, we always go for the leaders, and like the leaders talk to the other leaders, and that's how it goes. But you know what? Alien-wise, we're talking like civilizations that have gotten to space. Like they're all about science. They have to be. Like, you don't just get to space. You have to be scientific. So we're talking like highly scientific minds that have made it across galaxies and like fucking cryosleep. Who knows how they got here? And who are they going to look at? They probably pay a little bit of attention to like the random people who seem to have influence on our forms of media. But I bet you more or less they'd be looking at who are the people who are running tech. The tech people are probably who they'd be looking at. They probably look at Bezos like a god because of the way he's revolutionized like all of our exchanges, in my opinion. Right?
To be fair, Jeff Bezos probably has a bigger brain than most of us.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he just got really lucky.
Make him any less of a piece of shit.
He doesn't need to speak anymore. He just literally like telepathically tells you something.
You know what? I don't actually think he's smart. I think he was lucky. I think there.
No,
yeah,
that's entirely
exactly.
it.
Like, there are certain people who are smart.
A lot of
Bezos. He was just lucky, man. There were so many other companies that were shipping and receiving, and he just happened to have the one that went into the right place at the right time. If it wasn't him, there would have been another Bezos. It just would have been somebody else running their own logistics company.
Well, Jeff Bezos, the big thing with him was what he did was he initially was selling just books, and he was like, well, we could sell books online, and that does X, Y, and Z, and A, B, C, and D, and E, F, G. And then the thing is that after he got that system working and actually functioning, it worked out really well because you could do that stuff. And then you go from selling books to selling more merchandise, to selling more merchandise, to selling more merchandise. And then it's like, okay, well, we need more server infrastructure. Okay. You do more server infrastructure. And his background isn't really in tech. It's more in like business stuff. So once he was like doing all the server stuff, he goes, oh, well, why don't I just rent out all my servers to people who need them? And it's like, again, you go from A to B to C to D to E to F. And it's like, that's how Amazon makes legitimately lots of money. That's how Amazon kind of does their business. They're not actually making tons of money off of the warehouse workers, sadly to say. They're making a lot more money off of hosting like websites like Gab, Parler, Netflix, YouTube, Reddit, Giant Bomb, GameSpot. All of these companies, they're all hosted on Amazon web servers. They don't really need. Yeah,
YouTube would be on Google servers, right? Because Google has their own bit of infrastructure, I'm guessing, right? But the other ones, yeah,
but like. Yeah, but like they're doing a lot of this stuff. They're doing a lot of web hosting now. They're doing a lot more than just being a retailer. And it's like once you kind of see the direction that they're going in, it's kind of easy to kind of go, okay, so they're going from A to B to C to D to E, F, and G. And it's like, okay, that's kind of what they're doing. Like the thing that kind of shocks me is like Jeff Bezos has a rocket company and Elon Musk still beats his ass. Elon Musk is just kind of like a wild bar because he just will sit there and be like, You know what would be really cool if we made flamethrowers?
You know, it'd be really cool. Doge.
Yeah, Doge. Yeah,
Dogecoin,
what if I
yes.
just made everyone millionaires who like to coin by tweeting something? That'd be cool.
But he's like, but he's not like, how do I say it? He's not a bad person in any sense of the word, but he genuinely seems to me like he's kind of like the chaotic evil archetype, where he's just like, I'm just going to do chaos and just do whatever I want. Or chaotic neutral, if that makes sense, Ben. You're more of an expert on D&D than me.
Jeff Bezos would be lawful evil.
I'm talking about Elon Musk.
Oh, Elon Musk?
Yeah, I think chaotic good. I would agree with that too.
Because he does a lot of really dumb shit, but like in the great scheme of things, he's doing it for the good of mankind. Granted, he's like I said, like he's still a billionaire, and he still does billionaire things. But at least he's spending his money on like noble goals, like electric cars, electric tech in general, and battery tech, along with the rocket tech and all the other shit that we seem to have abandoned, and all that, and like a bunch of other things too. So like, that's the best I can say for that.
Anyways,
Yeah. If there was one billionaire who deserved it, it's Elon. Like there's like whatever, there's Jack Ma who would easily just be the same as Bezos. They are the same thing, which is why I think anyone could have been him. But Elon's the one that there's no copy of. You know, there's no other Elon, and without him, we wouldn't even be talking about electric cars today. We wouldn't even be talking about like, oh, we're gonna go to Mars. We'd still be stuck in this random, oh, it's expensive. NASA gave up. So.
Well, it's like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Yep. If Bill Gates and Steve Jobs weren't there, we wouldn't have the modern computer.
But you know what? Actually, here's the thing, though. I think Bill Gates is another Bezos. I think he was another got lucky in the right place at the right time. Because if it wasn't Microsoft, it would have been IBM. You know what I mean? Like, you see, and because Bill Gates was with Microsoft doesn't mean that it couldn't have been Joe Blow from frickin' IBM that became the Bill Gates of that time. I think it was another inevitability.
So the reason why I say both of them is because Steve Jobs was a visionary.
There was no other Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs wasn't an inevitability.
There will never be another Steve Jobs. It's like Gabe Newell.
If you think about it, with the whole IBM versus Microsoft thing, I think Microsoft made better decisions than IBM did. And so it wasn't as much the luck that he was in the right place at the right time. It was more of he had the opportunity at the right time to make those decisions. Because if I remember correctly, there's a few situations where he had the ability to just like dive into his work like pretty hard, and then he made the right decisions to just take off.
Well, one of the things that Jobs and different Jobs from Gates was Jobs was less of a risk taker. Jobs would sit there and he would see cool tech and he'd be like, okay, I don't know how this works and stuff like that. And then he was surrounded by people who would do something interesting. And then where Jobs kind of hit his own stride was when he would walk into a room and he would say, we should do X. Like, we should put all of these CDs onto an MP3 player about the size of like this small hard drive or something like that. And all of the engineers would be like, okay. And they would spend months trying to figure out this thing. Or Jobs would sit there and there's one really good story where Jobs was literally walking around the Apple campus and he's talking to an engineer and the engineer goes, Steve, we're just going to make this icon a square. And Jobs starts pointing out all of the stuff that are round in the environment around him. And he goes, see how that thing in nature is round? See how that's round? See how that's round? That was Steve Jobs to a core. He was an asshole, but he was a good asshole. Gates was a little bit different because Gates would do stuff where him and Steve actually were working on the same product at one time, where a lot of the Apple, I think original macOS software had some Jobs or Gates touches per se, just to kind of figure out the UI. And then what happened was Gates would sit there and license that technology, use it to make Windows, which became a juggernaut, and unfortunately got released right around the same time as the macOS operating system. But Gates was a very different person because Gates was a massive fucking asshole, and the only reason why he beat IBM was because he would sit there and he would license software that he bought from some guy for like $50, and then he would just constantly replicate it. So you're kind of right, Keith. He was lucky, but it was like the reason he was lucky was because he made a smart business decision that allowed him to do a bunch of crazy shit.
He had the right opportunities at the right time. But I'm saying, like, okay, so let's say, hypothetically, in an alternate timeline, Bill Gates makes a few bad decisions, and he screws up. Somebody at IBM would have eventually given more opportunities to be the winner, with Microsoft not actually succeeding so well. Someone from IBM would have taken off. And if both of them failed, there would have been some other startup, because computers were becoming a big thing. It was like like I say, it's an inevitability. Computers got really popular from the war, and then of course they're going to go personal at some point. It's like an inevitability, just like cell phones. We needed to have the power in our hands afterwards. So like all of these things, in my opinion, are inevitabilities. And therefore, if it wasn't...
It just could have looked different.
Yeah, exactly. It could have just been a different name that we know who made it famous, or a different company, or both. But there are certain things which would have happened no matter what. Like even, you know what, I would say even going to another planet is an inevitability, because there's really only two options. Either we don't go and we die here, or we go at some point. So it is an inevitability, basically.
Yes.
I'm making bets that we find the relay station in Pluto, like in Mass Effect.
Oh, that'd be so good.
But we are our ability to look out and see things is pretty good. So we would have seen it by now.
Yeah, that's true.
What we're gonna find is we're gonna find it buried in Pluto. We're just gonna find it buried in Pluto one day, and we're just gonna be like, "Fuck!"
Oh, Pluto is the master relay.
Holy fuck!
Yeah, just like, hey, you know that giant like ice ball out there? We said it was a planet, not a planet thing. Yeah, turns out the whole thing is actually a machine. What? How?
A machine used to launch you to other galaxies?
Yeah.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah, so you know how we said it's all water? Yeah, the machine's underneath it.
And then we just get fucked.
The machine's underneath
Dude,
it. It's using all that water to supercool it.
Or the machine is made of water. It's a water engineering, and that's how they propel you to other galaxies.
I mean, there's string theory and shit. Maybe, I don't know, aliens figured something out with string theory, and it's like, oh, we could just do this weird shit. And it would just make this planet into an engine. Here we go. And you're like, how? Okay, cool.
Doesn't make sense.
Or maybe
Okay.
because it's so large, it has its own gravitational field, and then because they shut it off, it just became Pluto. There you go.
Ooh, there you go.
Actually, this is reminding me of a web channel I watch. He goes through these interesting deep dives into these called icebergs. And these icebergs start from normal stuff that you heard of and goes all the way down to the bottom of like, holy shit, it's like you start from this normie shit, and then you go to the bottom, you're like, I never heard of this. This is crazy. And one of the things he was going through was conspiracies. And one of the conspiracies is one of the rotating like satellites or moons on Jupiter has giant scratch marks. Like you look at it and go, oh, God, that could be just plates just moving underneath it or something. And you're like, true, but it's so small. There's no way they're gonna have lava. And two, it's just like the size of our moon. So it's like, how do those scratch marks get there? So everyone's like, it's Cthulhu!
Dude, Space Sam Squanch.
So good enough.
Pretty much. Everyone's like, it's Cthulhu!
Please no,
Cthulhu
we don't
is
need
good.
space monsters.
It's now you just got this horrifying thought in your head of like, what if a giant space monster just scratched that and left? We're like, I don't know how I feel now.
Yeah, I surely hope not, because we have enough terrible things in our oceans. We don't need space monsters as well.
I mean, it's bound to happen, because I'm like, if anything that Star Trek has taught me is that like, even infinite space will have infinite weird shit, and there will be a thing that just lives in empty space somehow. It'll just live off of it, and it'd be like, it'll get all its food from empty space somehow. It'll just be fine. That's bound to happen, although it'll probably be like a space worm like in that episode.
Ooh, space worms. So that's terrifying. Gigantic space worms with claws that can scratch planets. Ooh. Oh, you guys seen those movies Tremors? Or like you've seen those? Like cult classic B movies back in the day? The giant worms
yeah,
with
yeah.
like the cowboy western, like that, but in outer space.
No, thank you. That's a hard pass.
I watched the
Hard
movie
pass for
though.
me too.
Yeah.
I will. It's a good movie. Has
Yeah.
Chang in it. Some guy called Chang. We got to talk about some stuff though. We got to talk about Halo 3's new map after
Fucking
14
awesome.
years. Halo 3 gets a new fucking map.
What map? What is
It never fails. There's always a Halo topic. I wonder
Halo
why.
is literally the best thing that's ever happened of all time. Changed my mind.
Okay, that's
I
on
would
me.
beg to argue,
No,
but okay.
it is the best.
Keep
Yeah,
the
it's
Halo
like
fanatic.
there are no other video games. I don't think there are any others that exist. Pretty sure it's just Halo.
Sure.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. Halo 3 got a new map. It's pretty good. It's after 14 years, which is hilarious because this wasn't in. And it looks better than all of the other Halo 3 maps combined, I would say. Just artistically. It does a lot of really dumb things or really cool things, like it hides the man cannons behind waterfalls, hence the name of the map Waterfall. But it's basically a giant L. It has multi-levels. There's a big center level. It's a cool map. Anyone have anything they want to kind of describe about it? Or
I have not seen it or anything about it. So
If
Ditto. So
if you pop open the
Wrong crowd.
MCC, they have a playlist where you can play that map exclusively. And I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good. It feels kind of like a Call of Duty map. It plays really. There's really good lines of sight, but also enough cover that you're not kind of stuck in the open. Like there's a lot of problems in Halo where you'll get stuck in the open, and especially Halo 3 without sprint, you can't move fast enough. So if you're in the wrong spot at the wrong time, you're just dead. Like you have no option. You either get really lucky and people miss their shot with the VR, or you die. So this map's really good. There's almost always an opportunity to escape or like change the tide, which is pretty good, pretty well made, really attractive looking map. Lots of AI stuff in the background. Anyway, pretty good. Highly recommend it.
cool.
Yeah,
I played Pokemon Go this morning.
nice.
I'm gonna throw.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive out to your house and like hit you with a water bottle.
I have to say I live
Actually, no.
I live actually in a pretty good area for playing Pokemon Go because all I have to do is just basically go and pick up my friend who's also playing Pokemon Go. Go to our downtown area where the city I live in. It is a small-ish city. It's just like 30 minutes away from Edmonton. And really, and it's like, again, it's not as big as Edmonton, but it's still a city, smallish, but it's not as crazy. And I go to downtown there, and it just park at one spot. Me and a friend figured out we can touch 5 Pokestops at once. It would just sit in the car and stay there. We pop lures, and we pop some fucking essence, and we're kings. We're just sitting there like, yeah, fuck yeah. It's literally we catch a Pokemon and 2 more spawn. Catch another Pokemon, 2 more spawn. Catch another Pokemon, 2 more. Like it's just nonstop all the fucking time. It's crazy. Like, it also happens to be an event this weekend, so that's why we went in the morning because went from like 11 till 2. So it was like, oh, we got to do a bunch of shit and like prepped a little bit beforehand, and we try to do a bunch of trading and play and catch a fuck ton of Pokemon, and we did catch a fuck ton of Pokemon. A lot of green, or was it leaf starters and grass starters and shit like that. So it was like, yay, we fucking got all that working out, and yeah, it was a fun time. We got to stay in a car. We don't have to talk with people. It was great.
There's a really nice park kind of near where I live that you can hit like 5 or 6 stops just by sitting at one of the benches there. But like it's kind of popular, so it's difficult. But you can sit on like the hill by yourself, and it's pretty okay.
Yeah.
I just don't
You
like
kind of do the
Pokemon.
same thing.
I just don't like Pokemon Go.
All right, friendship ended with Jeff. New best friend, Josh.
Yep.
Hey, fuck you.
You upgraded me on the food chain now. Cool.
That's pretty much an upgrade, though. Let's be honest.
Perfect. And
I just don't like Pokemon Go.
Jeff, it's okay. We can be Team Halo.
It's just because you don't want to walk,
Yeah.
right?
No, I love walking. The problem is that whenever I use Pokemon Go on my phone, it drains the battery. So even if I wanted to play it, I can't.
yeah,
I mean,
the battery draining.
That's all games.
Yeah, the battery draining is a bit much on there. The way that you can save your phone battery life on your phone, turn off the sync in the it auto syncs. So it when you have the game off and you just have your phone in your pocket, it tracks your steps like a basically a pedometer, and that does drain your battery like a good chunk of the time. If you want to turn that off, it actually does save. Like it means that when you turn off Pokemon Go is not doing anything. It's not trying to use the pedometer in your phone to try to count the steps so you can hatch eggs. Like I would say that's one thing you could do to like trying to make it so that it doesn't zap all your energy out of your phone. But it is a game when you have it turned on, so that's the only other gripe. It's like it uses 3D. It does still have that draining your phone battery, kind of gripe.
I'm just going to agree with Keith. I'm just going to join Team Halo. It seems like a better option.
I mean, you're already on that team, so you're biased anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like there's a competition. It's not like there's Halo Go. Although if there was Halo Go, that
Dude,
would be
Halo
great.
Halo Go.
Halo versus Pokemon. I would love to see a poll. I think Pokemon would win, but there's a lot of Halo fans, man.
There's
a lot of Halo fans.
It would.
I think.
I mean, I like both games, but like,
But I'm talking if you had to
I think I'm
choose.
just over Halo.
Oh man,
If I had to choose, I don't know. I'm over Halo. I'm actually kind of over Pokemon as well, to be honest. It's just whatevs.
Yeah. I have to say, last time I played it was like when the first time it came out, and I was actually kind of pissed off with how less of a game it is. And when I start playing it now, it's way better. Like there's the gyms. I think I stopped right around when they start putting in gyms, and I just felt like I just hated it, and I didn't want to go back to it again. But now, since like they put up a bunch of updates to it, like it's once you hit, I think level 33 or 30 or something, you can actually say, hey, this area should be a Pokemon stop because of this reason. You can actually, submit this area, go to review, and someone in like Natic HQ, Natic, whatever the company, it will go to their HQ, they review it, and go, all right, we'll make this a stop, but other people have to go there and review the stop and see if it's actually a good stop. So it's like, it's actually a good system of like, if you feel like there should be a Pokemon stop here, there should be a stop there. And if you're at the certain level, which you play the game a lot, and it makes sense, is like, you'd be into it and be like, yeah, this should totally be a spot. And you'd be into like, it's not like in the middle of a highway or some shit.
yeah, of course. That's why there needs to be some peer review. That's actually a really good system.
Exactly.
I do thoroughly appreciate that. Getting community involvement in game design is like really, really, really cool, and something a lot of games can't actually do. It's difficult to have a platform where you can actually encourage that. So that's really awesome.
Mm-hmm. And also, there's a whole bunch of other systems in the game now too. Like, there's raids. People can remote raid. People who are in the raid in the first place go like to their friends list and go like, okay, you can actually have up to 200 friends in your friends list, which is absurd, but you kind of need that if you're doing a raid, because you'd be like, there's this like tier 4 raid and I want to get in on this, but there's like no one else around me. So what I'm going to do is just fucking hit up everyone on my list and see if anyone wants to do this raid. And you probably get just enough people, you could do the raid, and like you just do it by yourself, and no one, basically people who are on their phone, they'd be like, I can fucking do this raid right now and get that sweet bonus. Like it's that's also a good system.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Another one. Yeah, I think ever since COVID, it made the game a better game. like a lot of the updates they did was like, we made the radius so it's actually bigger. You actually have a character on screen and you see the circle span out, and it's like, okay, that's your radius. You have to be shit within your circle to interact with it. But they're like, hey, we extended the circle so you don't have to be so close to the object, you just spin it. It's actually like almost 3 times wider than you think it is. I'm spinning stops that are like halfway across the screen. I'm like, oh god, I should not be touching this, but I can. And I'm like, I don't have to go and interact with the spot at all, and I can walk back the other way. It's so good.
That's awesome.
Like, and and there.
Yeah, my problem is that around my house there's just a nice little like loop that I can do to hit like 5 Pokestops, but since I don't have to get that close, it's kind of the thing is like there's not a good way to just like literally loop around.
Yeah.
So I have to walk halfway down the block to get all the Pokestops and then turn around and then go back. And it feels really awkward to do that.
Or just go across the street and go down the other way.
Well, no, the problem is that the streets are really busy.
Oh, I see.
So it is virtually impossible to cross the street. So the problem is like, it's like I'd have to cross at the light to go down towards like this restaurant and the fire station that are there and this other business that are Pokestops, and then I have to turn around, come back, then go down the main street towards the highway to get the it's not really a highway, it's just a 2-lane fast road to get the post office, and then I have to turn around, come back, cross the street, and then that's how I get back home. Oh. Because there's no sidewalk down the 2-lane speedway.
I see.
So I have to double back twice, and it feels so awkward to do that. I'm just like, man, this looks really fucking weird. Me just stopping and like doing something on my phone and then turning it around and leaving.
Although Pokemon Go is so synonymous, like because of that big spike in the first time everyone was playing it, that you see someone on their phone acting weird and go, they're playing Pokemon Go. Like that's the first inclination that you have. Even for what was it? When me and my friend were sitting in our car, we're just doing shit on our phone. And he actually made eye contact with someone else who was also doing shit on their phone. And they just kind of pointed at each other and turned their phones at each other going, yeah, you're playing Pokemon Go. See you later, dude. And it just kept walking. It was like, oh, you had that interaction? I'm like, I didn't notice. I was playing Pokemon Go. I was like, that's funny.
One of my problems, too, is that I'm a very large black man in America. So...
oh, dear.
I have a couple problems there.
Yeah, I was gonna say if there's like stat sheet, your danger went up like 20.
Yeah, so it's just like I'm walking around midday as a adult, clearly a very adult, large black guy doing weird shit with his phone.
That doesn't sound suspicious at all.
Oh, yeah, not to normal people.
Not up here.
No,
that's for sure.
God, I really fucking hate society. God, I hate this.
But in America, I can't just do that. It looks really sus, and that's why like I really stress about that.
That's brutal.
Why do I feel like Ben has been pushed inside of his house and locked in there for eternity?
Because society sucks still.
I mean, that could just be my anxiety speaking through your mouth, but yes, that's about what it feels like.
Okay.
Or I don't know.
Should we continue talking about Pokemon?
I mean,
I think that's about it.
If you want to switch subjects, I mean, we could go back to tits and ass. I don't know.
I mean, Pokemon tits and ass. I mean, let's be honest here. We all know the correct answer, but I'm just going to say it right now. But instead of talking about tits and ass, let's talk about going outside. Let's talk about going outside and fighting other people. Josh, you were at the Josh fight. Tell me what it was.
Oh, fuck. That you know what? I almost forgot that was a thing until I saw videos of it on Twitter. And I was like, oh, yeah, the Josh fight. And apparently there was a lot of people there.
Did you attend the Josh fight?
I did not go to the Josh fight because it's in the fucking States. And, like, where was it? Actually, I'm not even sure where that was.
Somewhere by a lake. It was by some lake.
Was it?
Yeah. I don't know which one, but it was by a lake.
Oh.
I'm now
I'm getting
upset.
you a picture, Josh, because you're going to love
Lincoln, Nebraska field.
Oh my god, I was in fucking Nebraska?
Lincoln, Nebraska.
It could have been a road trip with you and Ben. It could have been like Redline, but no. Instead of being a good friend and driving to the Josh fight,
I will never drive that far ever again.
I do enjoy how like 50%, actually even more than 50%, like a good 75% of the crowd costumes.
Yes,
I do enjoy that.
Yes. Nobody caught my segue.
Oh, what was your segue?
Well, you could have you could have picked up Ben, and you guys could have driven to the Josh fight together, and it could have been like Redline. It could have been a really good road trip.
Redline the movie. What's it called? OVA? Is that the right term?
It's a movie. It's original animation.
Okay.
It's a movie. It's just a movie. Keith, have you seen Redline?
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh,
you should watch it. But it's very pretty.
Yeah, very pretty. Has actually one good soundtrack.
Very good soundtrack.
One good track.
We'll that.
One good track. You make it go.
Fuck you! It has a really good track.
Yeah. Red line. It looks.
What else does it have? Oh, it has a plot that literally just ends.
Yep. You kind of wish you want. I actively kind of want Redline 2, just to see if there's.
How
Yeah, like you just want Redline 2, just be like, what's happening? Like, what's afterwards? Because you want to know what's afterwards, but it's like, whatever.
Yeah. The way that I would describe that plot is it's like eating a burger, and then like you go to eat the fries because you're like, oh, I finished the burger. Burger's so good, and then you're, oh, jeez. Thank you, Ben, for that. You piece of fucking shit. Why would you do that?
I said to remind you how fucked we are.
It's okay. Your government's busy fucking me over. It's okay. I like it.
I guess I should share with the friends so they understand.
Yes. So what I will say is I would say that Redline, I watched. It was good. And then it's like eating a burger. I was going to go with a looter response, but instead we'll go with it's like eating a burger and then going for the fries and finding out your girlfriend ate all the fries.
That does happen.
And it's
all
just
the time.
like it's just like it's just like you're sitting there and you're just like I finished my burger, but I don't feel satisfied yet. And now I'm really sad because there's no fries to go along with this beautiful meal. I'm very sad. I'm a sad boy. And that's basically Redline's plot is like, it's a very good movie, very well drawn, very beautiful, great movie to watch. Characters are very well designed. Everyone kind of has a point.
I remember doing a college kind of essay on this movie. The only thing that sucked was trying to explain the plot of the movie, which there is none. It's just literally, dude goes in race, dude gets fucked over, but gets a second chance. Dude goes in race,
dude.
And it's
that's like Need for Speed Most Wanted, classic.
Yeah,
the exact same plot, or like fucking Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, exact same plot.
Yeah, like it just sucks because like there's so many characters in the movie too, and it just doesn't kind of dig into them more and kind of explain like what's their backstory or who they are or what kind of personalities they are. Like you get this bare skim of who they are, and then you're like, on to the next guy in the race, and you're like, but the other guy, he's so cool. Come on.
That's funny. Have you guys seen the trailer for the next Fast and Furious 9?
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't.
Dude, John.
I don't know. I don't know.
They don't exist
they're
anymore.
so bad, but they're so good. Fucking John Cena's in it. John Cena is in the next Fast and Furious as Dom Toretto's brother that they don't talk about for the entire series. It's fucking Vin Diesel versus John Cena. Like, you gotta watch that.
It's so bad. You say it's so bad, so good.
Yeah.
Fucking Giant Bomb also talks about this movie series, and they're like, Tokyo Drift is a prequel, right? And they're like, what? Yeah, it talks about before this shit. And then they also talk about the timeline and how the timeline is also weird. And like, okay, so Tokyo Drift is before, but they haven't connected that yet. So that means that this movie has to be over here, and that movie has to be over there, and then this character died, so that movie has to be here. And it's like, it's so weird. It's so weird.
Didn't they eventually retcon Han's death?
Han's also back. Han is also coming back.
Yeah. Yeah, Han is not dead anymore.
That's funny.
They reverted
He's
on the Han
alive.
death.
Did they do the Mortal Kombat Armageddon thing of like the telekinesis is like is what was it? Raiden telekinesis a message to himself into the past saying, "Don't let this character win." And then Raiden's like, "Oh fuck! I got a message from myself from the future. I cannot let this character win."
I think it's a little bit more complicated like that, where he just gets out of the car.
More complicated than that.
He just leaves the vehicle. I think it's more complicated than that, but I don't know. I've literally watched Tokyo Drift and then was like, this is a really good movie, and then I try to watch 4 and 5 and I'm like, these are also really good movies, and then like 6 and 7 I stopped caring.
But you know what though, I used to go you know James, right, Jeff? Like from back in yeah. So we used to go because we were all about the cars and stuff. And we would go because going to the theater and watching them on opening night is like an experience, because you know somebody's gonna do a donut in the parking lot after. There's gonna be people burning their tires everywhere and street racing on the way out, and you get to watch these absolutely ridiculous, terrible movies. It's just like going to the theater to watch them is such an experience, and that's why I'm excited for 9, because it'll be right after, hopefully, everything opens up again, and it'll be something to go do that'll be like a thing to bring random people together, watch some burnouts, have a ridiculous time.
You guys don't have the increased cop presence at all your theaters during the first
we don't shoot people at our theaters.
Fast and Furious?
That's like an American thing.
No, unfortunately.
I'm sorry to be terribly mean.
Unfortunately,
but it's true. We don't really need that. People just do donuts.
It's not the shooting. They use that as an excuse to like hide out around the theaters to pull over a ton of people.
Oh wow!
I think it was, God, what one was it? It was like I think it was like the third or the second or third one when I was younger. I remember leaving and I saw there's like a pretty long stretch of road from my movie theater down that's like nice, long, dark, and perfect for going fast, basically. Nice. There was 6 people pulled over on the whole stretch of that road on the way down there.
That's crazy.
At once. Of just people getting pulled over for doing dumb shit. And then, like, there was even more. There was 2 more people pulled over in the parking lot when we were leaving. And then there was another cop just flying down the highway going in the opposite direction after somebody. It was just like, Jesus Christ. There were so many cops.
Yeah, plot twist. Fast and Furious is actually just a way for everyone to get more ticket revenue. That's why the entire movie series exists. It's just a way for cops to ticket more, and they all plan it. They're just waiting for this exact moment. They're like, this is the night, boys. Make a couple mil for the government today. Just pulling everyone over.
No, it's funny because it's kind of the same philosophy with kung fu flicks. Like, especially if it's like a real good kung fu flick, you think after the movie you feel so pumped up, you're like, I want to beat the shit out of something. I want to beat the shit out of something. And actually, here's the thing: there's a movie that I felt the exact opposite. It was watching what was it? That superhero movie, but not. It was Kick-Ass.
Oh, Kick-Ass, yeah.
Fucking after watching that movie, I was like, I know it's an action flick. I know he kicks ass, quote unquote. But I was like, man, I do not want to kick ass. I want to go home and stay there. Like, I had the exact opposite feeling of like, I want to go punch something. I'm like, I want to go home and be a sensible human being and not do anything harsh or terrible. Like,
yeah, especially like how brutally like beaten he got like before. Like he actually was good.
He never had a punch hit at all, other than shooting the fucking bazooka.
And then it really rams home like how unrealistic like other superhero movies are, especially for like the average person. It's just like, that curbed my enthusiasm pretty good.
Yeah, true. Exactly. It's like he always had his shit kicked in. It was someone else helping him, trying to do kicking in the shit like every time. So it was like afterwards, it's like I gotta be the most basic good human being I can, and that's about as far as I can go. But yeah, like I tell you, like after watching Jackie Chan flicks, you'd be like, yeah, kick some, yeah. Fucking do flips off of this table.
Kick some ass.
Do flips off this table. Yeah. And then kick ass is like, nope. Nope. Not today.
I think picking a Jackie Chan movie is the wrong one because he gets hit a lot. And I'm the last thing I'm thinking. It's like, I don't want to get hit. No
I think it's kind of realistic. Oh, not realistic, but like just go like, oh, he will take a hit or two at least. I mean,
and then he shuffles around and moves, and it's more a realistic fight than if you some of the other things.
Yeah, exactly. If it was like a John Wick or it was like a... Actually, John Wick gets beaten up a lot. I would say more like Jason Statham. There we go. That's a movie series. Like anything he's in, he's never beat up. If he is, it's like Scratch or two.
Or it's Cranked.
Cranked is so good.
Oh, man.
Where it's more self-influenced. Self-inflicted, I mean.
Are they going to make a Cranked 3?
Literally...
Oh, I wish they could make a Cranked 3.
I always thought Cranked was like GTA, the movie.
It is.
But it's like you are the player. And I'm like, I was just freaking out in the theater. I was watching it. I was like, this is fucking GTA, like through and through. Like you're chaotic and you're doing whatever you can to get your mission done. So it's like, this is exactly GTA.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
I loved the really weird, like, directing style of those movies. Like, even the scenes were shot, like, so weird. It's just such an interesting thing to watch. Like, at first you're, like, blown away, like, oh, this is so fast-paced and crazy. But you start looking at, like, how they actually move the cameras and stuff, you're like, wow, this is, like, some really interesting directing. Just the way it's put together. It's so weird.
Mm-hmm. In fact, I think like what was it when John Wick wakes up in his bed, like you hear the phone ringing, and it's like that sounds like the phone's dying. Like that's also like a weird like choice to put in the film.
True.
Of like sound like your phone's slowly dying. Although I think that's trying to be a foreshadow of what's happening in the movie, especially with the character.
Mm-hmm.
Like the phone is slowly dying and sounds like it's dying, but it getting picked up again and then slowly dying and then picked up again because that's the character in the movie. He's trying to jumpstart his heart constantly so he doesn't die.
True.
Yeah. So like that's kind of clever foreshadowing, and also a lot of people want that phone tone. Or the ringtone, basically, in that movie, because it's like, oh, that's a cool ringtone.
Yeah, like I recognize that. Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the wallet from Pulp Fiction. I have one of those. Have you guys seen that? Pulp Fiction?
Wallet from Pulp Fiction.
In the last scene, they're in the diner, and then the two people are robbing it, right? And then Samuel L. Jackson is sitting there, and he pulls out a gun. And it's a weird standoff, and he's like, "You're gonna give me my wallet back." And they're like, "Oh, okay, please don't hurt us." And he's like, "Which one is it?" And he's like, "It's the one that says bad motherfucker on it." And there's this one scene where he passes him the wallet, and stitched onto the outside of the wallet it says bad motherfucker, and I have one of those. Just because every now and then there will be someone at a gas station and they'll be like, "Holy fuck, great movie," and I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about it." It's a great conversation piece.
You just don't think about it, you're just like, fuck.
And everyone else is just like, "Well, look at this trashy dude." But anyways,
I mean, so we got some political topics because politics are great.
Sick.
Here we go.
China bans feminism.
I'm not entirely surprised.
Hold on, I got the sound effect for this. There we go.
Nice.
So, via an article from Reclaim the Net, whose affiliations I do not know nor care, I'm just going to say it right now. I don't like the CCP. I don't like them as people.
No one does. They're bad.
I think they're pieces of shit.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. There's some people who do.
The people in the government?
I believe.
Other than that, no one?
And some people outside.
The people...
The older population is really hardcore into supporting the government over there, but most of the people, like, under 30 don't, but they feel like they can't do anything about it, so they don't.
So, I live in British Columbia, right? And the Chinese people...
You live in Hippieville.
But I'm talking. There's a lot of Chinese people here, and they are really fucking rich. It looks to me like most of the rich Chinese people who are wealthy and highly educated leave as fast as they can because they know what's going on.
Yeah.
And they will come here, and we have a huge problem with money laundering where they take that. Okay, so the payouts in casinos are about 50%. So if you based on statistics, go and you spend $1 million, chances are you're going to come out with 500,000. These people are willing to give that amount of money to a casino to wash their money so that it doesn't go through the. It doesn't look like they've transferred it over because they can do it in cash. They will take a 50% cut and loss on their cash just to stay away from China and lie about the money that they've brought here. That is crazy. That like you have to absolutely hate your government so much to try to hide money and take a 50% loss on it, or you have to be an absolute criminal and sell drugs. I just don't think there's that many criminal masterminds that are moving to Canada from China. So
I have to say your logic there makes it sound like money. If my rule of thumb is like money, kind of corrupts almost everything,
yeah.
and like for them to just cut 50% of like whatever they have, it's like that's kind of huge.
That's huge, man. You have to have such a huge motivation for that. Sure, it could be illegal, but like there has to be some like, I absolutely do not want to go back to where I'm from no matter what, and I'm willing to lose 50% of everything I bring to a different place to do that. That's crazy.
That's kind of huge.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, boys.
Think about this. 50% is way higher than the tax rate of probably both China and Canada put together. So even if they went the legal way, that would be less. It's like they hate the government that much. It's crazy.
But they don't want to give them even a cent.
Like they're like, nope, I'm taking everything and running.
I hate the government. I legitimately hate the government.
Just
so
China,
I
right?
can understand that. I hate all of them. I think all government's stupid and dumb.
I like roads and hospitals.
I understand their.
I kind of like Switzerland.
I can agree with that as well.
Okay.
I understand. I think that government, when it works really well. And then when there's things that piss me off, I wish that they didn't exist. Right now, I would say that like during the COVID-19 pandemic, I am more in the line of. Holy fucking shit, I wish you didn't exist so that way then it just would be over. But that's me.
If there was no government, this pandemic would be a million times
10
worse.
million.
Because you know for a fact
yes, absolutely.
that nobody would have any kind of self-preservation.
No.
Nobody has any kind of self-preservation.
No one's smart enough. No one would just be like, I think I should cover my face. We would literally go back to wearing those witch doctor masks and like bathing in the blood of the dead people because we thought it was a way to get rid of the demons. If we didn't have someone telling us this is what you should do to keep yourself safe, we would all be fucking dead. Unfortunately.
I'm just like one of those people where it's like I believe in the community more than I believe in, how do I put it, than the federal government.
Oh man, your faith is sorely misplaced, my friend.
Man. Very.
Got to agree with it. Sorry.
Yeah. Bye, Jeff. Bye. Hope you like your death pit. Bye.
Yeah,
it's fine.
You're starting to sound like an anarchist, and they are not correct.
I'm probably completely incorrect. I recognize that.
Yeah, have you guys ever seen the Legend of Korra, the animated series? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. I've watched it like
it's
3
super
times.
good, right? My girlfriend and I are watching it right now. We just finished the 3rd season.
I mean, it has its flaws, so I wouldn't call it super good, but it's a good show.
Well, the 2nd season was trash, but the 3rd season is super good.
Do you know why?
Well, they had to set it up, or what happened?
Yeah. Do you know why the seasons like were so like not cohesive and kind of?
No, I never heard why.
Okay, so what happened was when they signed on for season 1, it was supposed to be a one-off. It was always supposed to be one season, and that was the end of it. Because they didn't know how viable it was going to be, so they only signed up for one season. So the fact that Amon was literally like brought up and brought down in one season was because Nickelodeon only signed them for one season. So when it did so well, like it did so well, they signed them on for a 2nd season. But they were like, well, since you've only done a 1 season thing, you could do another season and then, we'll call it quits. And then it slammed again. And they're like, oh shit. and then they got signed off for 2 more seasons.
Oh wow. And then they could make it cohesive. That's funny.
Yeah, and then and so they literally, they were like, we are fucked because they literally wrote 2 contained seasons because they thought they were only going to get 2 seasons, and then they got signed on for 4, and they're like, oh, excuse me.
That's terrible for writing. That'd be so difficult. But
I kind of
Yes, that's exactly what was the issue. So that's why Amon. That's why it felt like Amon kind of like got cut short, because that's what happened. It literally had to be a singular season, and then the whole fact that like the second season again was another one of those, like, it ended in like such a huge like power struggle.
Totally,
Again.
it didn't feel
like,
right.
It just didn't.
Yeah,
make
it
any
didn't
sense.
feel right at all.
Yeah.
But the third season, just going back to like anarchy, I thought that was really interesting how they brought up like the struggle between anarchy and like, is it right or wrong or natural to have kings and queens? Yet like they're talking about like the struggles between having a natural order, which is chaos and like badness and fear, with a strong community, like Jeff's talking about right now, versus like the having a society but having the tyrants at the top of society, and like what's better. And that was like such an interesting theme. And I haven't seen the fourth season, so please no spoilers, but I thought that was really cool and kind of really exemplifies exactly what we're talking about right now, the differences of opinion.
How far into the
Very
third
end,
season
we've watched all of it.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess I won't say anything at all then about the fourth season.
Okay.
I think the fourth season is a good continuation of the third.
Nice.
So China banned feminism. We all agree it's bad. We instead talked about Avatar.
Sorry.
Accomplished much more.
Oh yes, way
Because
more.
fuck China,
Yes.
they don't deserve anything, any kind of part in the spotlight for sure.
Well,
Unless
this is
you're
all.
talking about their terrible deeds.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. I'm like really conflicted about this because while I hate the Chinese government, I dislike the way that I dislike some of the things that feminism does. And it's like simple stuff like, encouraging a lot of people in order to do stupid things, going way over and bound, saying that, screaming about something that's when you're completely, how would I say it? Screaming about something when there needs to be more deeper conversation about stuff like that.
I think
I dislike
generalizing feminism too much. And as much as
Yes.
I dislike feminism as well, I shouldn't say I dislike feminism as a whole. I dislike
the woke
radicalized
ideology.
Feminism.
The extreme.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But dude, you know what? At the
That's
extreme,
what I'll say.
anything sucks. The extreme right is terrible. Extreme center, I think that's totally a thing. There's just like always taking a back seat and being like, well, you're wrong and you're wrong. Like extreme center, every extreme sucks. All of them suck equally.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
That's why to be healthy, you have to be able to ride both sides and have informed opinions. Like, so subscribing yourself to a side, I think, is just wrong
Yeah.
in general. Like, even saying that you're a centrist, it should
Yeah,
be
exactly.
wrong.
Because it's not black and white. It's not one label. And you know, this is very progressive,
Yeah.
but like everyone's kind of non-binary with their opinions in a way. Like opinions change, they shift all the time. It's like I don't think I've ever.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
it is
healthy.
healthy. The people who have like stock set opinions, that's probably not a good thing. That means that you're not learning. You're stuck. You're perpetually in one spot. And I guess if someone likes that, good for them, but that's definitely not healthy.
Yeah.
Understandable. Yeah. That's a really good way to phrase it.
Just like China. China always has the same opinions. That their government, CCP,
It's
they
very dangerous.
continuously have those exact same opinions, and they follow through with them all the time. They don't change. Like our Canadian government changes all the time. Not a ton, but like a decent amount. And compare that to China, they've had like the same goals and the same ideas and the same things for like 30 years. Almost 40 now.
Yeah, evolving and changing is important.
Super important.
To everything in life, even just outside of government, even like well established like businesses and stuff
Yep.
should also be able to have this
Totally.
evolution. Just because like being stuck in ruts doesn't do anybody any good.
And there can be times of like stagnation where you just kind of sit and like allow life to go on, and that can be okay. But it's interesting because tough times are exactly what drive change. Like right now with COVID, you're seeing like some small businesses are dying, and people complain about it a lot. They're like, the small business is dying. The government should step in and help them. You know what though? This is a bit of a different opinion on this, but I think they should die. If you're a small business owner and your business was struggling so bad that you couldn't survive right now, you probably were on the way out anyways. You know, this is just the ultra hard. This is like your test finally came up. You've had quizzes with little difficulties through the years, but like all of the successful businesses I know have done renovations this year because they're going to write it off on their taxes, even though they lost money because they saved for it and they were ready. They were successful enough to survive.
Yeah.
The ones who are closing and complaining about it are the ones who weren't run very well. Probably businesses which shouldn't have existed in the first place. It's kind of a weird opinion.
I can agree with that.
But it's...
No, I
could also agree with that.
There's and if you can't evolve with the times either as a business, you know, that's just that's a failure on your part. Because like, being able to do like remote stuff and like shipping and all that, you know, it's just like if you want your business to survive, you should have been expanding it that anyway. Because the growing online shopping is so large now that you should have been moving into that anyway. Because I remember I used to work at a secondhand game store.
Ooh, EB Games?
And no, this is a mom and pop.
Oh, okay.
And well, it wasn't a mom and pop. It was a older woman and dude, whatever, it didn't matter. But they were closing stores like left, right, and center, and they were refusing to like. They wouldn't even maintenance the store.
You see, and that's wrong.
And like, they were doing such a slow shift to like online stuff. I was like, you need to like. I was even like, I had direct shifts with like the owner, and I was talking to her. I was like, look, you need like some of the biggest things like you could do to help like with revenue of these places for this place is online interaction. And I'm like, Twitter, you know, Facebook, you know, actually being interactive, and then like getting online sales, like you having an Amazon account where you can sell stuff through Amazon and ship that stuff. And they were doing it like on eBay, and they were doing it like terribly on eBay too. And I was like, if you had a Twitter, you know, you could have people follow you on Twitter, so like when you get in a rare game, you could take photos of it, throw it up on your Twitter, and that would get huge. Like people would see that, like, oh man, I really want that, and they would be able to buy it and have it shipped to them. You know, it would be such a great way to move products. Because we had games worth like 200, 300. We had one game that was like probably one of like we had some really rare games that we used to keep in there, and it was just like none of them were moving because we had no eyes on them. And I kept trying to stress this, and then it got to a point to where we couldn't do cash trade-ins anymore because they put like a new the district there put like a new pawn shop law into effect, and we kind of fell into that where we couldn't do. The only way we could do like cash trade-ins was like to follow like a holding period for stuff, and she was like, I don't really want to do that. I'm like, it's just like it's like a week. Just hold it for a week. It's not that big of a deal. And then we just stopped doing that, and then eventually that store was shut down, and they moved back to their singular like best store.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I originally had one of my friends was working at a store that was closer to me, and I met my other friend there, and that store ended up closing because they kept raising the rent. And so they closed that store, moved everything to the store that I ended up working at. And then eventually, like I said, like that store had another problem, and they were just like, nah, we don't have to deal with it, and just shut it down.
Wow.
It's like you could have made so much more money if you just like put in a little bit of effort. But the fact is that those stores were making as much money as the other guy's like primary painting business. So it's just like they didn't want to put in the effort.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess.
I mean, they could have pulled in just as much money if they were better in their decision making. Because one of the other things was there was a manager at the main store that they would consult for their like video game purchases. So whenever like new games are coming out, they'd be like, "Oh, how much of this game we should buy?" And they would ask him, and he would be, oh my god, I think it was Madden 16. Was that the huge one that flopped?
Oh, I can't remember. There was a NBA game that never came out. That actually ended up being rare if you had a copy of it.
Yeah. There's tons.
There was one Madden that was huge and like had a really, really terrible rating, and everybody was really dogging on it. It was fairly recent, and they bought like a whole fucking like case of it, and we had like 100 copies. No, it wasn't that recent. because I haven't been working there in a few years. And they had so many. I think it was 18, or it was one of those ones. But it was like we had 100 copies between the two stores, and we sold 10.
Wow.
And it was like, are you kidding me? Because everybody hated the game. It was absolutely awful. It was dog shit. Even we had customers that were regulars that would come in and pre-order all the Maddens and NBAs every single year, and they didn't this year. And they still bought tons of copies because we normally sell all of them. It went from us trying to sell $60 copies new down to $6 in a week.
That is pretty bad.
And that was just one of the absolute dog shit decisions that other manager made, because he had no idea the things that he was doing. I warned them from the beginning. I warned them. I was like, look, this game is getting terrible reviews, early reviews. Do not buy a lot of this. Just don't do it. You're going to lose a lot of money. And then they did it anyway.
Yeah, just threw that on my calculator really quick. So they lost like $5,000, like $5,500 on one game.
And well, that's probably, you also got to remember how much you're paying for it, like from the suppliers. They're not paying full price either. Not paying $60.
Yeah, I guess so. Probably more like $2,000 or $3,000. But
still, ouch.
yeah,
yeah, we were
Ouch.
selling new copies at, like I said, like at used prices within a week, and then we weren't buying them. We were buying them for 50 cents.
wow.
It was like if you get, it's like people are coming in with like some of the old Madden games, and it was like 50 cents. And they're like, really? It's like, yeah, man. Sports games, dog shit trade in. And it was like the new one. They got it within a week, and they came back. It's like, yeah, this game's dog shit. I'm like, yeah, we're only buying it for $1. And they're like, are you serious? I paid $6. Just I'm like, we're selling it for $6 now.
Economics.
And they would get super mad at me. Super mad. It was rough. It was a rough 2 weeks.
I have to say that your story just reminds me of another game store that was in West Edmonton Mall. It was called Play Me. And basically everything that you said kind of reminds me of all the bad decisions that place did, but it stayed around for a longest time because it was the only game store, I think, on the west end of Edmonton that did all the trade-ins and got all the weird Japanese games, because even though the owner was a total fucking moron, like straight up moron, he still had
Are you talking about Game City?
No, Play Me.
Oh, I don't think I've...
Yeah, I don't think I went there either.
The Play Me. This is a long time ago. This is like 90s, 90s and early 2000s.
Oh, okay, yeah. Before my time.
You gotta remember, I'm old. I'm so old, man. I'm old. I'm 32.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Good for
We're the same
good for
age.
you for being awake so late.
Yo, hold up. That's mean. That's rude.
It's so funny.
I stay up until 6. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So anyway, like,
Wait, Ben, are you older than Josh?
No, we're about the same age. My birthday's in January, so whatever Josh says, I might be a few months older than him.
like February. So
Then I'm only a month older than him.
So anyway, about the Play Me store in West Ed that used to be there, like everything that Ben said about like all the bad decisions just echoed also the same bad decisions in that store. The only reason why it stayed around for so long, again, it was like the only store in West Ed, and I'm pretty sure it was the only trade-in video game store on the West End as well. And it's also the only store in that whole mall that dealt with video games. So for the longest time, it was like, oh, you want to go get video games, you go to that store. But the owner was such a dipshit and like such like a moron. Like, I remember that they had a giant stack of these interactive golf games. And these golf games have like little mechanisms and shit you can put on your wrists and put on your legs and all this junk so you can actually accurately get your swing. But here's the thing never fucking worked. It's garbage. And he had stacks of these things, thinking they're gonna be, oh yeah, people are gonna want to buy this golf game. And it's like, who the fuck wants this golf game except people who play golf and they don't play video games? Like this guy was a moron. And the only reason, again, the only store in West Ed, because they're only store in West Ed, like a lot of people walked in and just get like the rare Japanese games that they had. And also, but they actually had smarter people working there than him. That's the only reason they stayed open. It's like, I remember also walking in and being like, oh, I wonder what games they have. Oh, they got that game, that's cool. Oh, they got that game, that's cool. And then I'd be like, the fuck? This game's rare as fuck, and it's $10? Okay, I'll get $10 for this. Thank you very much. Like, this is such weird decisions that place did. There's also like, man, there's also another time where I was talking to the guy. I was like, oh, I like this game. Yeah, I like that game. And he written me up his receipt. And they still do, like, you know, written receipts in the store. And he gave me the receipt. His signature writing was so good. I felt like I had to put it in a frame. And I was like, wow. It was that good. And I was like, this is really stunning writing. And he's like, oh, I want to be a tattoo artist. I'm like, yeah, you should be, because holy shit. This is real good writing.
Damn.
Yeah, it was that good. I was like, fuck, man.
Should hold on to it so that way when he's famous, he's like, I have the signature of a famous tattoo artist.
Oh, he bought that video game that one time.
Anyways, we got one more topic and then we'll probably end up the show or probably go into tangents and bullshit like that. Whatever. Nobody cares.
Overtime.
News for so Ben posted some interesting stuff. He sent it to me.
Oh, that.
Florida family indicted, accused of selling bleach as a COVID cure. Reminds me of a video I saw on Reddit just today of people feeding cow piss to COVID patients in India.
I heard India is really fucked right
The
now.
word fucked is not a statement you want to hear
You
in
know,
COVID-19.
did
As somebody who had the pandemic,
yeah, you guys should
virus.
see the data for this.
Yeah, I'm Googling right now.
So is there the Sea of the Dead is getting bigger?
Yes.
yes. Only instead of it being COVID-19.
I put it in the topics list.
Yeah.
It's so gross where they're like, yeah, there's now a man bridge going across the Sea of the Dead. Oh, cool. Who put it there? Man. No, I don't.
They have
it's dead people. Oh,
just their confirmed cases have now skyrocketed past the United States peaked COVID cases.
oh God.
And the problem with that is this is just reported. As far as the people in India are concerned, this could be incredibly way more, like exponentially more.
Well, it's funny because you see, like, the United States, you can see, like, where the initial hit happened, and it doesn't initially hit them. August, yeah, that was a pretty bad time. And then you see the kind of the second wave, August 8th, yeah, that's pretty bad. And then you kind of see, like, a drop off.
And I think that's where the vaccine was starting to be deployed, right?
Yeah, right around August 8th. I think Pfizer was right around November. And then you kind of see it kind of drop off again. India starts picking up steam. India drops down right around September, October. And the United States just starts skyrocketing right around November. Gee, I wonder why. People are inside. The virus tends to spread a lot more effectively inside.
Oh, wait,
especially in apartment.
Is it November our election season?
November's right around your election, so that's also probably played a big role in that. So it starts skyrocketing. December, kind of, we get into that kind of frame.
That's holidays and all that shit, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's traveling around. India is on the decline really rapidly. They're doing pretty good. And then January kind of rolls around. Everything kind of peaks around January 8th to January 12th, January 13th. India starts going down. United States just falling like kind of a rock. And then we just see India just kind of just skyrocketing. So right around the time that Biden kind of takes office, right in that kind of period right there, you kind of see COVID cases just fall off the cliff. And that's right around the time the vaccine kind of came out. So that makes sense because the vaccine deployment in the States is really high. Mm-hmm. It's almost like as if you guys got like fucking destroyed or something like that. I mean, it's really funny because right now it's like Ontario is really struggling and they're like, it's like we go to the Americans, and the Americans will say, "Yeah, no, you can't have any of the vaccine. Period. Fuck you."
We have some like super serious infrastructure when it comes to making shit. So when we want to make shit, we want to make shit.
Yeah, and it makes sense why you guys would want it, because it's like you look at that August thing, and it's like, I don't think Canada was as bad as.
You can hit the checkbox to add Canada to the list.
Okay, so Canada, Canada's not even a blip. Like, here.
Oh my god, it's literally just a line.
Yeah, it's just a straight line. So we're bitching about how bad Ontario's doing, and it's like looking at India and stuff like that, we're doing fine.
Because we're always on top of our game about it.
Well, I mean, I was just looking at the stats, and there's 23,000 deaths total in Canada for the whole pandemic, and there's 550,000 in the States total deaths, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, even percentage of population-wise, our death rate is way lower. That is like fucking nothing. I mean, obviously we have public health care, but that is a huge part of it.
Well, you also don't have governors throwing old people into nursing homes with COVID patients. That's
in New York. Oh boy, that was rough.
No,
you didn't hear about that?
So what happened in New York is that they pretty much abandoned during the beginning. This was like in like March or something when the lockdowns were first starting to happen. They all but abandoned all the people in the nursing homes in New York. To the point to where they said that they were literally using box trucks to ship the corpses out from the nursing homes to have
Holy shit!
Mm-hmm. And and it was also getting so bad that they couldn't cremate them fast enough, and so that these unrefrigerated box trucks were just piled high with bodies and just stinking up New York.
Okay, did not hear about that. That's crazy.
It was so.
Yeah, it was really bad.
So you know how like when we all kind of like figured, okay, when this hits New York, it's going to be like massacre and death, and people started like getting ready for like the death plague to come in, and then Trump was like, "We're sending the mercy, the United States mercy." Yeah. That ship never got used once because apparently it wasn't needed. No, it was fucking needed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's horrendous. I'm not really happy about what's going on in India. Apparently, their variant is a combination of both variants. So we have COVID-20 now.
Yeah, India is literally like what New York did in its entirety. It's just there's literally people dying out front of the hospitals because there's just not enough room for everybody, and their restrictions are just like non-existent.
I don't even think they have the infrastructure that I know of to properly facilitate a lockdown. Like, I don't think that it's possible to get the word out.
They don't.
Yeah.
And I think I hate to say it, but their culture doesn't really facilitate that kind of thing anyway.
Yeah, I have heard that. I've met quite a few stubborn families that have moved from there to here.
They're not exactly the most cleanly bunch either in the general. Like the below average people apparently are not great. I hear that shitting in the street is actually quite common.
And I want to say my sister had a trip to India before the COVID thing happened. And yeah, the first thing that my sister said was coming off the plane, smells. All the smells hitting your orifices and everything. You smell through your eyeballs in your mouth.
That's terrible. Like, that sounds so bad.
Yeah. I'm like, oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. That's an unfortunate trend out here as well as that it's not a very nice place to go to if you're not used to it.
There was some story I heard a long time ago about the sriracha factory shut down for like a week, and all of a sudden all the people who lived in the slums next to it were like, wow, I can actually breathe. And that's when they figured out that the sriracha factory was putting off so much of a smell that it was like literally desensitizing and like destroying people's taste and smell. but they had no idea.
What the
Yeah, it's something about
they were putting out so much chili.
Yeah, the sriracha factory.
Because it's just sriracha's just raw it's just jalapenos. It's just ground up jalapenos. It's literally just jalapenos.
Yeah.
So they were
I was gonna say
seeds and all.
That's gross.
Yep.
So they were putting out so much of this shit, and they're grinding it up, and that like releases particulate in the air, right? So they were doing so much of it that people were losing their breath and they were or smell. Holy shit!
Yep. I also heard about that too, and I was like, that's insane. That it's such a fine, like they're doing so much of it, and it's just so finely in the air that technically everyone's getting pepper sprayed constantly.
Crazy.
Like that's insane. It's low concentration, but so much over time. It's like I bet people had like red eyes constantly and couldn't figure out what's coming from.
If the sriracha factory is doing this, can you only imagine what some of the other factories are doing? Like that's fucked. That like we're just like that's cool. It's fine. You know.
Yep.
It's nothing. Don't worry about
you're
it.
putting plastic in the ocean. That's fine. I don't need my balls or dick or anything to go smaller.
I would rather have sriracha or the sriracha factory in the air than plastic factories. Yeah, no, I would rather have
metal in the air.
Metalworking doesn't really offend me that much. Just put it away from the cities and my kids.
There's only so far away that you can shove all the factories before it's still an issue.
Eventually it's at someone else's city. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you have to build a city around the factories for people to live to go to, and well, that just means that's them.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like you can't just saying just like if it's not my problem, you just bury your head in the sand of the overarching problem.
Yep.
Well, Ben, you don't go outside, do you?
As little as I must.
Okay.
But that still doesn't mean that I'm not, observant of there are issues and that I can't just be like, oh, hey, as long as it doesn't bother me. I would rather give my voice to saying, hey, that's fucked, even though it doesn't bother me.
Makes sense.
And I'm just saying, just shoving it off on somebody else doesn't absolve you of that.
Hey, so you know what? I just did a quick Google, and it turns out this was actually in Irwindale, California, where Hoi Fong produces sriracha. That's where this story was from. I totally had forgotten about that. It's not even in India. It was in California, where people were complaining that the sriracha smelled too spicy, so they shut down the factory.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And they might move.
Well, I think it's time for us.
Go on. No, we're
go ahead.
All good.
I was gonna end the show,
you go.
but let's finish. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Apparently, they might move the factory to Texas. What's this article from? This is like way back in 20.
Well, everything's moving to Texas.
2014. But I guess sriracha started the trend. This is 2014, way before Tesla was into it. Anyways,
makes sense. So, thank you everyone for listening to the Black Mind Games podcast, episode 296. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Ben, for joining.
It was a good time.
You can listen to us every Thursday. Yeah, you can listen to us every Thursday on blackmindgames.podbean.com. You can subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting app of choice. Yeah. Have a good night. Bye.
Farewell.
Okay.
Okay, so I will just...
you get the message I sent you? The one that like looked like a fucking that made me like my head explode.
Which one?
Go into Discord messages. You know, the ones that you ignore me.
eBay tits and ass.
It doesn't take much to blow your mind, Jeff. You're pretty easy.
Yeah. This one
Boy,
was
wait till you take that
Hero.
out of context. Just you're pretty easy.
I'm pretty easygoing. Here you go, Ben.
That is not the intention I meant of that.
George
You're pretty
Floyd
easy.
thing.
Yeah, I read it and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Did you hear about Rape Day?
What?
Is that rape year day? Or just
No.
Is this the game?
No. Apparently in like 2010, right? There was a tweet because today is supposed to be International Rape Awareness Day. Well, people were tweeting back in like 2010 that were like, "Oh hey, it's International Rape Day. Why don't you just go fucking rape people?" And it's just like, what? And apparently, just recently on TikTok, people were making some like super disgusting fucking like TikToks about like, I'm gonna go rape people on Rape Day, kind of thing. And there's been apparently a bunch of people that's kind of like fallen like into like, yeah, let's fucking rape some people on the fucking 24th, and like people are getting fucking molested and shit over this shit. It's real bad.
TikTok, the new Satan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All I know is that like TikTok's like on the bleeding edge of like the internet where my generation was 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Man, I look forward to the fall of those fucking individuals.
It's like 4chan, but worse.
It's like Vine.
It's exactly like Vine.
Yeah, it's just Vine except like way more popular.
No, because Josh, what you're saying about 4chan is completely false because 4chan is like, how do I say this? 4chan is the Chaos Gods.
Uh-huh.
Like it's the universe if the Chaos Gods won.
Okay.
TikTok is the universe if the Emperor won, and it's still shitty.
That slightly makes sense.
Yes. Let me put it like this. It's TikTok is the universe where the Covenant won the Halo War, so nobody actually won. So the Covenant just succeeded in wiping out humanity. And how do I put it? Horrible shit hit the fan. Should we sync and start the show? Or should we wait for this other host to come in?
Who's the other one? Is it Alan?
It's Captain Keither.
Okay. Are they actually going to show up?
Yeah, they're going to show up.
All right.
He might make a statement, and I look forward to... Ben, feel free to correct him as much as you want.
I don't try to say that I correct people.
I'm not saying that, but like he's like a Canadian, so like he might say something ignorant, and I haven't really...
You know, Jeff, for the...
So I'm allowed to say you're stupid and you're wrong?
Yes.
For the topicless resources, you put in Pokemon tits and ass. What would be the third game? Would that be Puss or Dick? Or that would be the sequels afterward?
Thighs.
This is an important question.
This is a really important question because I'm like...
Yeah, it's literally the emerald. Thighs is the emerald. And then the next one is Dick and Puss, and then the third is Boy Puss.
It's called a bussy, and I'm ashamed that I know that.
You're right.
Or backdoor pussy.
I'm ashamed that I know that. I have a good meme for this.
Oh, God.
I have a good meme for this. Well, I also have this one, which if you ever play Bionicle, you know what I'm talking about.
I received loyalty. You received cock and ball torture.
Now, here's a better question. Which this would be the sequel. It would be Femboy and Tomboy. Would be the sequel.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Pokemon Femboy and Pokemon Tomboy.
can I get Pokemon Fuda?
Does that mean? Wait, no. Wait, why would it be Tomboy, Fanboy? Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Because like, if there's Tomboy,
Then do we have Pokemon Trap?
That's the third one. That's the Emerald.
yes, entirely. Although, if there's Pokemon transgender, like with that, I don't know.
It would just be M to F and F to M.
Oh yes,
on either side.
That's right.
And then you can slap in the middle, just be like, boom, Buddha. Or it's just everything.
I have.
Yeah. Oh, speak about a bunch of boobs and ass and stuff. There's a video game I've discovered through a. There was this.
Is it this
haunted PSP demo disc?
Is it? It's not Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion.
Oh frick! It feels like this is.
Which my boss showed me, and I almost bought on the spot.
I love how people are using the commits tax evasion as like a thing in video games. It's like it's just so good. Ever since Yoshi did tax evasion, everyone thought it was cool. They start copying him.
Hey, tax evasion's not a real crime. He says, recorded on a show that his corporate overlords might listen to.
Oh, you're going to edit this out? And I'll be like, Jeff, remember that time you said that? You're like, no.
It's going to be like that time that like I was in where like Adrian's assistant goes, Jeff called me this, and then I was like, I said the word exactly, and I'm like, why would I call you that? And then like I'm sitting there listening back to it, I'm like, why the fuck did I say that? What the fuck?
But I actually found a video game or two through a thing called the Haunted PSP demo disc. There's like a commercial for it and everything on YouTube. It's like PlayStation-esque video games, but the idea is that they're all horror themed. So it's kind of like this game's style of Resident Evil, this game's style of a platformer, this game's the style of a, this and that, but it all meant to be kind of horror themed. And for 2001, there's some real interesting stuff on here. One is called Walk, and it's you're a little Japanese kid going through scenery in the style of Resident Evil, but all the scenery is real life scenery, and you're trying to escape this horrifying monster, and you can see this monster, but you're controlling the kid like you're the camera. You're controlling the kid like you're a camera out in the scenery, and it's fucking good. Like it gets that real good like creep value to it. And there's also some weird ones that are like really play on the idea of creepy. Like there's like I said, there's 3D platformers in here, but they're all cutesy. And you go, where's the horror part of it? And then once you see the horror, you go, oh yeah, this is pretty creepy.
Shall we start the show?
I thought we were waiting on another person.
Yeah, are we still waiting?
Well, we'll start the show, and then if he comes in, we'll start the show, and then he'll come in and be like, "Oh,
perfect timing."
Okay. So let's sync in 3, 2, 1.
Sync.